Sailing for the South Seas and the full sails are flying. 100 miles to the line and winds are dying. How long I will be here, I do not know. One thing I'm sure of, winds will blow. If you should decide to make your own water maker, you have three advantages. First, you will save some money building it. Second, when you have to buy spare parts, it will be much cheaper to buy the one you desire instead of buying from a company you purchase the water maker. And the third, you will understand how it works, so you will never have to depend on any kind of mechanic or anybody else who will charge you a pretty penny for it. To build a water maker, you have to first decide what source of power you have. You pretty much have three choices. You can run a high pressure pump directly from your engine. You can have a high pressure pump run from a 12-volt motor, or if you have a generator, you can run 110 volts or 240 volts. The more power you have, the more water you're going to be able to make. Because we have a 7 kW diesel generator to run our welder and a plasma cutter, we decided to go with a 240 volt single phase electric motor to run our high pressure pump. Our water maker produces 40 gallons of water an hour or 1,000 gallons a day. We had it for last 16 years. Never had a single problem with it. Always run like a clock. We run the water once a week for 2 hours, and gives us plenty of water without any problems. Building a water maker is actually quite simple thing. Okay, first you have to have a water intake which will run to your strainer, and from the strainer you go into pre-filters. We have here two pre-filters. One is 20 microns and one is 5 microns. From here, water runs into a high pressure water pump. From the point of inlet of the water to this point, everything is low pressure, so you have to get a good quality hose so it doesn't kink on you. From a high pressure pump, you run high pressure hoses to your water membrane. From the membrane, high pressure pipes run into a regulator and your gauge to show the pressure. Past the regulator, everything is again low pressure. Then you can have your meters to show how much water, raw water coming in and how much fresh water coming out. The hour meter shows how many hours you operate the water maker. After each use of a machine, we run for about 1 minute fresh water through membranes to wash them out. So that's pretty much all what takes to make a water maker. One more thing, the hose, high pressure hose from a high pressure pump to a membrane must be out of plastic, high strength plastic, because of harmonic vibration. If you use a metal, stainless steel hoses or anything like that, they will for sure crack. From that point on, you can use stainless steel tubing, which is cheaper than I use high pressure hoses. But that's about it. If you decide to make it, I think you're going to be very happy with it, because I was very happy, and the total cost of this machine cost me $2,300. Here is our generator which runs all our equipment. Even if you buy the most expensive models, if you do not take care of it, it will not serve you well. So it is very important not only to buy a right equipment, but also know how to run it and take care of it.
So these are the chemicals we use for cleaning our water maker. We usually use them maybe once every 6 months or so if the water quality gets worse or if the flow gets less. We've got the acid right here and the alkaline here for cleaning. We've also got a preservative solution right here that we use when we're going to be gone for a longer time off the boat. We use that for our water maker membranes. We buy them all from Water Anywhere, and they're way cheaper than buying the cartridges that a lot of people use, or if you buy the little small packets individually. So, as most of you know who have been following our channel for a long time, we've been living aboard for over 30 years, and we really put our equipment to a good test. So one of the main reasons why we think our water maker membranes have lasted so long is because we always back flush them after we're finished making water with the fresh product water. You never want to flush your membranes with city water because it's got chlorine in it, and there's nothing that will kill your membranes faster than chlorine going through them. Also, if you go to Water Anywhere, like we suggested earlier, that you can download a lot of guides on how to clean your water maker membranes, the symptoms, causes, and the corrective measures that you can take to fix them if you're having problems. You also can get information on how to preserve your membranes if you're going to be leaving your boat for any length of time. If you want to find out information on that, they have it there.
In this side here, we have a Y valve. So in a one way, the reject water from the water maker goes overboard. And when I switch it this way, instead of going overboard, it comes over to this hose, will come back to circulate. So what happens is when you start making water, you have your salt water intake open, and a shadow valve for a fresh water is turned off. So this way you're making water. Once the water is finished making, you turn off the valve for salt water and open a freshwater valve. Then this way permits the pump suck the fresh water out of the tank for washing purposes. We built our water maker exactly 10 years ago, and although we clean our membranes periodically with the chemicals, our volume of the water went down from 45 gallons an hour down to about 34, and also the clearness of the water, which is parts per million, went up from our average of 120 parts per million up to almost 400. So time has come to replace the membranes. So what do you have there, Susan, that big box?
Did you buy me a present, Julius? You shouldn't have. Let's see what we've got here.
Jules bought a present for Susan. Let's see how she's gonna like it.
Whatever could it be, Julius?
In such a big box.
Oh, something so big. It's big and round. Wow. Okay. It looks like a water maker membrane, Julius. Amazing. So after 10 years of running our water maker pretty heavily, we finally decided it's time to change out the membranes. So we bought 2 new ones, and we're going to show you how we remove the old ones and install the new ones. I don't know how hard it's going to be, but we shall see. So to change the membrane for a water maker, because it will be very awkward to work right here, we will have to remove the pressure vessel out of here, and to do that we're required to disconnect the high pressure tubing and hoses which bring fresh water into a tank, and also reject water which go overboard. So now we will have to take all these connections take apart, and then pull the vessel out, and we'll show you next what's got to be done. So now here we're disconnecting a high pressure hose which goes from a high pressure pump into the first pressure vessel. We have 2 pressure vessels. This way we're making 1,000 gallons a day. So today we will be replacing one, and tomorrow we will replace second one because they screwed up on our order and sent only sent one.
We ordered 2, but they only sent 1, so we're gonna have to wait for the second one to come.
And how much did the membranes cost when we originally bought them?
When we were originally bought, it was $180 a piece, and now they are
$220.
something like $210, $220.
And it's exactly 10 years ago that we put these membranes in, so they've lasted for 10 years and a lot of different kinds of dirty water. So pretty happy with their life.
High pressure hose disconnected.
Right.
And now we're going to disconnect from that sucker. So now here we disconnect a low pressure hose. And we also have to disconnect the second high pressure pipe tubing, which goes from the first membrane into the second.
I'm going to I'm draining out the pressure vessel here in the sink.
To remove a membrane from a pressure vessel, here you have two Allen screws. You have to unscrew it. After pull out those wedges which holding the membrane tap in, you remove the ring, and then this thing here comes out. And this is actually the sealer. Right here you have an O-ring, and the membrane is inside, and now you're going to try to pull the membrane out. So pretty much what you have here consists of two screws. You unscrew the two screws, those two screws was holding those wedges. And these wedges here hold this plate here in place. And once you remove them, then you pull the plug, which has an O-ring, and a water membrane goes into right here. And you can see right here is the membrane. So first I took the needle nose pliers, grabbed the inside membrane, and by turning it, I was able to bring her up to here. And now I'm going to have to use a channel locks, grab and lift it up like that. That's it. See it?
Yeah.
And now it is. You got a membrane. This is the old membrane. It served us 10 years, and now time has come to replace it.
Oh, wasn't that bad, right?
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
Now I would only like to tell you one thing.
What?
All went reasonably easy, except as I show you those plates here, they're nice stainless steel, but for some unknown reason they use a steel screws, which was very hard to get it out. So I suggest anyone installing water maker, if you do your own job, make sure those screws are stainless steel, because otherwise you're going to end up with a problem I did. Actually, the one screw I had to drill because I couldn't get it out. So it was unnecessary job, which took us an extra 45 minutes to do it. Anyway, here's our membrane. Now you're going to be able to throw it in the box. Membrane came in an enclosed plastic bag. It looked like it's some kind of a little bit of liquid. So probably try to stay, keep it moisture so it's not dry. And they recommended to use gloves before you're handling. So
Yeah, it's probably got some chemicals on it.
after you take the cut the plastic, and now you just insert a membrane directly into the pressure vessel. Compress it in. Okay, you push the membrane far enough in, because this plug's got to go on it, and the plug has an O-ring which makes it waterproof. You insert the plug. Now the membrane gonna fit inside this fitting. After you insert the membrane and install the plug with the O-ring, you're gonna make sure you press it down so you have enough clearance. Then you install this metal circle, and then you put into the wedges, and those wedges holds the metal circle from coming out. Right there. And then you're just gonna put two
Stainless steel
screws.
screws.
Stainless steel, so you don't have the problem I had it. Try to get them out. Okay. So that is the one type of pressure vessel. The other one is a little bit different, so we will show you the other one when we get it tomorrow, and we'll replace the other one. Okay. So now we're going to install the fittings on the end, and then put it back together, and hopefully we will have no leaks. So for high pressure line, naturally you have to install stainless steel fittings, but for low pressure, that means fresh water is coming out, you can go with the plastic fittings. One side is a barb for a hose, and the other side is the one you screw in. Apply 2, 3, 4, I apply 5 rounds of the tape. They say 3 minimum, so that 5 would be about right. And then install that thing down there, and this is where the fresh water come from. So stainless steel for high pressure, salt water in, salt water out, and low pressure, that means water, drinking water comes out of plastic fitting. So that's about it. Okay. After disconnecting the hoses, we take this membrane now out. Alright, remove the second. And this one has a stainless steel bolts, so it's much easier to remove it than the other one was. Okay, this pressure vessel has a 2, 4, 6 stainless steel threaded rods with lock nuts, and now we're going to try to lift that thing out, and there is a membrane.
This seems like a better design than the other one by quite a bit.
Yes, okay. After you remove the nuts, you take a wide, pretty good size screwdriver, and the pressure vessel has one notch on this side and one opposite, and you stick a screwdriver in there and try to slowly forcing it out. It doesn't go very easy. It's been down there stuck for 10 years. For this job, it's nice to have a big channel locks, so you can grab it right here, you know, when you turn it. And then we took a big screwdriver or a smaller crowbar, nail puller, and you gotta get underneath it and slowly wedging it out. It did not come easy, but now here is a plug. O-ring looks like it's good. It's good to have order a new O-ring same time you're ordering membrane, just in case if the O-ring is no good and you're not going to get stuck. So once you take the top off, it is good to pull the top where the salt water coming into the vessel, because on this side you have a gasket, and instead of pulling it out that way and have that gasket O-ring going through all the vessel, just pull from this side, so you're only going to be a 3-4 inches to come out. And once come past that O-ring, it's very easy to pull that thing out, and it's ready for a new membrane. So that's pretty much how it looks. It's our second membrane now. So that's how the pressure vessel look. And all you have to take it out, it's one end. So you can put the membrane out. And remember, open the one where the salt water coming in, because the O-ring is right here. So once you pull about 3-4 inches, it comes out very easy. Okay? Using a long clamp, it's a carpenter's clamp for building cabinets and so forth, all the way down. To insert this plug after you put in a new membrane, it's very hard to push in because it has several O-rings. So you tie it a little bit, and then you try to push on it. Tie it again, push it. Tie it a little bit. If you had 2 clamps, then you could just put it one from each side and accomplish a little bit easy, but this way is as best as it can get.
Yeah.
We'll tie it a little more. Alright, once the screws comes out here, then you can install the nuts and start tying it and be done. Alright, and then finally you tie it with down, and you do it the same way as you would do installing a tire. That means it goes across, so compress the O-ring down, and it makes it nice waterproof. Alright, that's it.
After putting everything back together, the water maker has no leaks and it's running fine. Here's our UV light, which they recommend because it kills cysts and viruses. It's a good thing to have with a water maker. And remember that after you get everything connected and put the membranes in, you need to run your water maker for at least an hour to flush out the membranes before you put the water into your tanks.
After we install our new membranes for a water maker, we noticed that our freshwater meter was tapping out, so we really didn't know how much we truly make of water. So we decided to test it manually. So we went and timed it, how long it take to make a gallon of water. After timing making water took 1 minute 17 seconds to make a gallon of water. That worked out to be about 1,200 gallons a day. Now naturally, if you don't use nothing in close to it, but to make a water once a week for about say 2 hours or so, it gives us plenty of water and doesn't take us so much of time to make it. It is very important when you make water with your water maker to make sure you flush it properly after you finish making water. Now, to do that, we use about 3 to 4 gallons of water per flush. Now, you understand that if you're only making 5-6 gallons an hour, you will be hesitating to use so much water. So when you make 40-45 gallons an hour, you can very easily afford it.
That's it for now, guys. I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave a comment and a thumb up. And we'd like to also thank all the new and old Patreons and people that support us through PayPal. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.